How's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Pokemon Journeys series. We're covering episode 99 in today's review, and it's the Ash vs. Marnie episode in the Hyperclass of the Pokemon World Championships, with Marnie ranked 29th and Ash ranked 36th. So how was this episode? Well, before I get into the episode review, you guys know the drill. If you're new to the channel, you like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It'd be pretty awesome if you would do that. So Ash and Go arrived in the Galar region, as it's Ash's day to face off against Marnie, his next opponent in the Hyperclass of the Pokemon World Championships. However, he ran into some Team Yell members who tricked him and told him that the location of the battle switched from Winden Stadium to Spikemuth. So Ash and Go head to Spikemuth, and they come across Piers, and he immediately attacks them because they're kind of interrupting his rehearsal session with his Pokemon. And Ash explains what's going on, and he realizes that, Team Yell kind of screwed things over. So he actually ends up agreeing to take Ash to Winden Stadium, despite the fact that he has a concert that's going on in an hour, so it shows how cool of a guy that Piers is. But I thought it was pretty funny because Piers over here, he's being extra cautious, and it seems like they're about ready to speed off, but he's actually kind of driving kind of slow on his motorcycle, to the point where this car passes by, and I don't know, it's kind of funny because this kid's like looking at Ash like, wow, what the heck? Slowpokes. Even Ash is like, hey, can we actually like speed it up, dude? I have this match that's kind of going on. And he's like, yeah, no, my motto is safety first, so we're going up this pace, even if it disqualifies you, kid, so get over it. But all jokes aside, Ash and Piers have a pretty interesting conversation on their way to Winden Stadium, where Piers basically tells him about Team Yell being Marnie's fans, and then we have him talking about Spikemuth, the whole situation there with it not having a power spot. Because of that, it's a deserted location, nobody really visits it. So what Marnie's trying to do is popularize the place, have more people go there. And to do that, she's participating in the Pokemon World Championships. She wants to become champion and defeat Leon so she can show the world that Spikemuth has some pretty powerful trainers that people should come and visit. Pretty much how it is in the game, except instead of the gym challenge, it's the Pokemon World Championships. So I found that to be pretty interesting. But anyways, they arrive at the stadium. And Ash runs in, and initially Marnie is kind of a little upset with him because he was kind of late. But he explains that Team Yell tricked him, and she basically chews them out, which I thought was pretty funny. They got what they deserved. But anyways, Go shows up. Piers is there to watch his sister battle, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, he kind of had a concert going on, but he decided to hold off on that to watch his sister's battle, which I think is pretty cool. But anyways, it's Ash versus Marnie time. So it's a 1v1, which it's kind of interesting considering the previous Hyperclass battles have been 3v3, but in this case it's 1v1, and it's Gengar versus Grimmsnarl. Now the first part of this battle is kind of unremarkable. The animation is nice, but Gengar and Grimmsnarl manage to land a hit on one another before Grimmsnarl Gigantamaxes, and almost puts Gengar to sleep with Max or G-Max Snooze, which literally Gengar has to basically stretch its face out in order to wake itself up and prevent itself from falling asleep, which would have been pretty much game over right there because, Grimmsnarl has 2 more moves that it could use in its G-Max form, so Gengar would have been pretty screwed right there if he wasn't able to prevent himself from falling asleep. But Gengar continues to struggle as Grimmsnarl uses G-Max Quake on him, manages to land a hit. Gengar, in retaliation, tries to use Sludge Bomb, which has absolutely no effect on Grimmsnarl. Yep. Gengar is pretty much driven to a corner, which Ash uses this opportunity to Gigantamax his Gengar. So to me, this is where the battle actually gets pretty interesting. So they actually both use a Gigantamax move against one another at the same time, with Gengar using G-Max Ooze, and Grimmsnarl using G-Max Starfall. And they collide with one another, and they actually cancel each other out. And because 3 moves were used for Grimmsnarl, he reverts back to his normal form, so Gengar actually has the advantage here. Or so you think Gengar would have the advantage here, but unfortunately it's not quite a slam dunk victory just yet. Grimmsnarl technically still has the type advantage, and he can still come out on top. And unfortunately for Gengar, both Max Hailstorm and Max Terror fail to connect. And Grimmsnarl is about to land a super effective Darkest Lariat attack on Gengar, which could potentially be game over. But Ash, using his unpredictable battle strategy, actually commands Gengar to swallow Grimmsnarl, as he's basically reverting back to his original form, which literally prevents Gengar from being knocked out. He swallows Grimmsnarl, reverts to his normal form, and then spits him out. And as a result, Grimmsnarl missed that Darkest Lariat attack, saving Gengar. But because Darkest Lariat missed its target, Marnie commands Grimmsnarl to use Stomping Tantrum, a move that actually doubles its attack when it misses its target. So Gengar is at a huge disadvantage here, but Gengar uses Shadow Ball and manages to take out Grimmsnarl pretty easily. Yeah, a little anticlimactic here, but yeah, it actually connects and Gengar finally gets a W. His first W in a long time in the Pokemon World Championships. As a result of his victory over Marnie, Ash moves from 36th place to 15th place in the Pokemon World Championships. Quite a leap, I have to say. He's actually really close to the Masters 8 now. And the episode comes to an end, with Marnie doing her signature smile. And as a result of her victory here, a lot of people became fans of Spike Move and apparently are planning on visiting the place. So Marnie's plan of trying to revitalize Spike Move actually ended up working out despite her loss here. But she does her signature smile, shakes hands with Ash, promises to battle him once again as she's not quite done here, as the episode comes to an end. So overall, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I have some issues with it, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But overall, I still thought this was a pretty good episode. It's definitely more enjoyable than the last few episodes, for sure. And it also features Marnie and Piers, two of my favorite characters from the Sword and Shield games, so I knew I was going to love it just because of that. And I think they did a great job with their personalities. I like Piers' personality. In the episode, the Team Yell members, which I'll get to them in just a second, Marnie's personality was great. I think it really worked, and even though I want to see Marnie more definitely after this episode did provide closure for her in the series, but I still want to see her more in the future. I don't want this to be her and Piers' only appearance in Journeys. It would be a shame. They have two great voice actors, or voice actor and actress respectively, so I definitely want to see them more. And then of course, Team Yell. I like the fact that each member looks very unique and distinct. I'm not a big fan of Team Yell, but I gotta give credit to the series for making every single member, like 100 plus members of Team Yell that were in the stands. They made each and every one of them have a unique look. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I also thought it was pretty nice that Alistair was watching the match between Ash and Marnie. It added some continuity from the Gengar Gigantamax episode and that whole two-parter back in December. So I thought that was all really nice. I also thought the animation in this episode was really cool. Now, it's not the best animated battle in Journeys by any means, but it was still a really nice looking battle, and I enjoyed it. Now, moving on to some of the issues I've had with this episode. Starting off with some minor nitpicks here. The first nitpick I have in this episode is that Marnie's theme wasn't remixed. Her battle theme, I should say. But her battle theme is one of my favorite songs from the games, and I was hoping that it would be included in this episode. Unfortunately, we didn't get it. Not the worst thing in the world, but I love that song, and I really wanted to hear it in this episode. But anyways, the next minor nitpick I have for this episode is that even though it was cool that Alistair was here watching the battle, I know why he was here. He is the reason why Gengar got the Gigantamax form in the first place. It would have been cool to see other characters react to Ash getting to like 15th place at the Pokemon World Championships. The one character that I think should have appeared here is Leon, and have him witness this, and maybe carry on the next episode. Granted, he still could probably mention it in the next episode, be like, hey Ash, I watched your battle against Marnie, and you're at 15th place in the Pokemon World Championships? That's awesome, dude. I feel like if they would have actually shown Leon watching it here, it would have been a nice continuity nod going into the next episode, so that both episodes feel connected. And not really a big issue here. He could still probably bring it up in the next episode. Maybe it's a flashback scene of him watching Ash beat Marnie or something like that, or get the 15th place in the PWC. But like I said, it's more of a minor issue. But the biggest issue with this episode is something that Journeys constantly struggles with, and it's with its pacing issues, with a lot of these episodes having to take place in a singular episode, whereas a lot of them feel like they should have been split into two episodes, where they're two-parters. I feel like this should have been a two-parter. Like, the first part should have been setup, and then the start of the battle. And then episode 2 should have been the rest of the battle, and then the conclusions. Like, what they did with Marnie and Piers in this episode was really nice, but at the same time, it did feel really rushed. Like, even though Marnie's character in this episode was really nice, her goal was literally accomplished in this singular episode. Which, it's kind of nice, but it also feels kind of rushed. And it almost feels like Marnie should have been introduced a lot sooner in the series. Like, she builds up over time, then has this 3v3 match with Ash, ultimately loses, but because it was such an exciting match, it excites everybody, and that's what ultimately leads to Spike Move's popularity, and everybody wanting to go check out that place and see if there's more trainers like Marnie there. I don't know, but the payoff isn't the best, and I almost feel like this battle definitely should have been a 3v3 if they wanted the payoff to be a lot stronger here, but from what we got in the episode, it's pretty decent. But I just feel like this episode definitely should have been a two-parter, or this whole battle should have been a two-parter. It's just my opinion, though, but what do you guys think? Do you think this episode was good enough, or do you think it should have been stretched into 2 parts? But that's all I got for today's episode review, so still a pretty good episode. It should have been a 2-parter in my opinion, but from what we got, it's still good, it's enjoyable. I definitely recommend checking it out. I give this episode a 7 out of 10. So guys, in the comment section down below, post your thoughts. What do you think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Is there anything that you really enjoyed in today's episode? Is there anything that you think this episode could have done better? I'd like to hear your thoughts, regardless. So post your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys later. Have a good day or night, wherever you're at, and peace.